Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and my latest Blu-ray update. I've got quite a hefty haul here. A lot of these are from Christmas that I've just not gotten around to showing you guys yet. They've been sat on my shelf ready for me to do a video. Others are just random ones that I've picked up at places like Poundland and whatnot, which seems to be my go-to place these days for Blu-rays, quite frankly. So no particular order. I'm just going to grab them as we go and let's have a go. First up is The Death and Return of Superman. I got this special edition version. I don't particularly care for these special editions of the DC animated stuff because it feels like a lot of box just for essentially the DVD, the Blu-ray. You get a figure inside and it takes up a lot of packaging just for that little figure. You know what I mean? And then I feel like you got to keep the box because you've got the figure with it. It's just, to be honest, I'd rather have the film inside with a slipcover on. That's just me, but there you go. It was the only way to get the film at the time. I have since seen it released as a separate Blu-ray, which was quite annoying. But yeah, anyway, it's basically the two parts because they were released as two separate films and they've been edited together as one long film, and that's the way I would like to have it because it is a complete story at the end of the day. But so I have seen them before. I liked them. They are two of the better DC animated movies. So if you've not seen them, one to watch. Next up is Ouija, Origin of Evil. I've not seen any of the Ouija films, and the only reason I got this, besides it being £2, is director Mike Flanagan. I was not expecting a lot from Dr. Sleep at all. To me, it was kind of hallowed ground. You're doing a sequel, direct sequel to a Kubrick film. Big mistake. But wow, it was good. It was very good. Flanagan really impressed me with what he did with that, and it just made me want to kind of seek out other stuff he'd done. So I've got this. I know it's not the first film in the franchise, although it's a prequel, isn't it? So technically it is. I don't know. Like I say, don't know much about this franchise. This kind of horror isn't generally something that interests me. I'm not really into the whole, conjuring, that kind of sort of spiritual horror. Touches a nerve a bit too much, I think. But like I say, purely because of Mike Flanagan, I want to check it out, give it a watch. Next up is this was a Christmas present from Graham over at Man v Film. I never heard of this film, to be honest. David Mamet directed it. He's done some really good stuff. I know he's a playwright. He's a very good writer, and he's done some very good films as well. So William H. Macy's in it. It's called Oleanna, I think that's how you pronounce it, Oleanna. Like I say, not heard of it. It was a present from Graham, so I look forward to getting around to it at some point. Just don't know what to expect with that one. Another one I don't know what to expect from is this one. It's a Asian cinema. A Touch of Sin, it's called, by a filmmaker called Jaya Zanke. Zanke? Yes. Anyway, I don't know how you pronounce that, but it looks pretty interesting. The story on the back it sounds like it's going to be quite hard-hitting and nail-biting. And quite frankly, the Asian stuff, you go somewhere like HMV, they always hike the prices up on films like this because they know it's a very specific niche market. So to find a film like that on Blu-ray for £2, I thought, why not? It's got some good write-ups on the back. So, yeah. Next up is John Wick Chapter 3. For me, the weakest of the three John Wick movies, but it's still kick-ass awesome. So it's still a 4-star movie for me. The ending, I thought, kind of let it down a bit, but we'll see where they go with the next one, how they can justify certain things. But either way, it is you don't get better action than the action you get in John Wick movies. Those guys really know what they're doing. Next up is The Magnificent Seven. One of the better remakes, I think, that are out there. I'm not that big on the original Magnificent Seven. I have tried watching it a couple of times, but I find it a bit dull, if I'm being perfectly honest. I prefer the samurai version, the Seven Samurai. But yeah, I liked this. Cool cast, good action, and yeah, Antoine Fuqua, one of his better films as well. He's done some pretty decent stuff, I think. Next up, The Shallows, £2. Again, another £2 purchase. I thought Blake Lively was really good in this. I thought the film was quite tense. It's one of the better, probably the best shark movies since Jaws, to be honest. It's one of those kind of trapped in one location type movies, but with a shark thrown in the mix. I liked it a lot. Some more Asian cinema. Again, got this for £2 at Poundland. It's called Like Father, Like Son. It's got I've never heard of anything about this until seeing it in Poundland, but you know, it's picked up some prizes, jury prize at Cannes Festival, so that's promising. But the story sounds really interesting. It's about a guy who finds out that his son isn't really his son. When his son was born, another child was born at the exact same time, and the hospital got them switched. So yeah, what happens? So that's an intriguing idea to me. It's it's all about fatherhood. What is it that makes you a father? Is it about blood, or is it about the nurture you give and that kind of stuff? So yeah, interesting concept. And again, the Asian stuff for £2. That's pretty good pickup, I would say. Next up is Justice League versus the Fatal Five. So far, I've not seen this. So far, I think it's the only one of the DC animated movies that I've not seen at this point. So yeah, I need to get around to that pretty quick. I never seem to gravitate towards the Justice League ones, although when I actually think about it, some of the best of the DC animated movies have been Justice League movies. So there you go. Next up, Kick-Ass with slipcover, which always floats my boat, so to speak. It's Kick-Ass. I love Kick-Ass. It's a good film. I even love the sequel, which a lot of people were down on. It didn't get particularly great reviews, but I thought it was a worthy sequel myself. Yeah, I have this on DVD, but for £2, I will have it on Blu-ray with a slipcover. Next up is Runner Runner. I have yet to see this film. I've not been overly impressed with Justin Timberlake as an actor. I thought he was good in Social Network. I thought he was utilised pretty well in that film. I wouldn't say he was a bad actor. He's never done anything that's made me go ooh. But I don't think it's his. It's not his strongest place to be, I don't think. Gemma Arterton, I can kind of take or leave. Ben Affleck, when he's on a good day, he's on a very, very good day. So again, I don't know what to expect with this. It was £2, so it's less than the price of a rental would have been back in Blockbuster days. So why not? If you don't like it, you can always pass it on to someone else. Next up is Fant for Stick. A film I loved on first viewing. Couldn't understand why people hated it so much. And then I watched it again on TV. And I was like, ooh, this isn't good. I don't know if I was just in a bad mood that day or whether I was just in a really good mood on the first day. So again, for £2, I bought it. I'm going to give it another try, and we'll let the third time be the charm. Whatever I think on that third watch may solidify my opinion either way. Next up is A Quiet Place. Really looking forward to A Quiet Place Part 2. I've only seen this once, which was when it was at the cinema. and I do really want to watch it again. Obviously, I bought it on Blu-ray, but it was cracking. I thought Emily Blunt deserved an Oscar nom for this, quite frankly. I don't think she got one, did she? Pretty sure she didn't. She should have done. Quite frankly, she should have maybe won it. Who else was there that year? Can't remember. Either way, it was an Oscar-worthy performance. Really great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we get in part 2. I'm sure a lot of people will say it was an unnecessary sequel, but is any sequel necessary, really? Not really. Speaking of unnecessary sequels, Jurassic Park, Fallen Kingdom. I warmed to it a bit more on when I watched it on Now TV. I wasn't particularly favourable to this when it came out at the cinema. My wife wanted to watch it once it came to Now TV, so we did. And I don't know, maybe it just works better on the small screen than it does on the big screen. But yeah, it's still flawed. It's still possibly the weakest of all the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World films. But hey ho, if I'm I'm watching the first one at some point, I will no doubt want to just watch the second one regardless, so I'm going to own it. Next up is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Really like this film quite a lot. It's one that it just grew on me. I watched it at the cinema. I thought it's not Tarantino's best, but it stuck with me and stayed with me. And now I look at it and I think, you know what? Maybe it is one of Tarantino's best. So looking forward to catching it again and making my mind up on that front. Next up is Wonder Woman Bloodlines. I think that the first Wonder Woman movie that they did in the animated range, which was just called Wonder Woman, is still the best DC animated movie from that line. Obviously, not counting Mask of the Phantasm, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, or anything like that. But from this line, I think that's still my favourite. So when this was announced, I was like, awesome! Finally, they're getting around to doing another Wonder Woman movie. I can't remember the name of the director on that one. It was a woman. What was her name? Anyway, I can't remember her name, but I wish she'd been back, to be honest. I like this. That wasn't a slant on this. I just mean, she did a fantastic job on that, and a lot of the other ones that she worked on when she was around working on them. I've seen this. It's not as good as that first Wonder Woman, but it's still solid. It's a very solid entry into the DC animated world. A lot of people I saw made a huge deal about the turning what's her name, is it Ella Candy or something, her friend anyway that's in it, so they make her a lesbian in it, and a lot of people are going on all woke culture stuff, which I get, I do get, and I get tired of all that stuff, but I feel like they made a bigger deal than was necessary from that aspect. They didn't play it up that much in the film, to be honest, so a couple of lines of dialogue and that was it. But no, it was a good film, solid stuff. Next up is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. This was Sidney Lumet, that's it. Sidney Lumet, really great filmmaker. He's done some absolutely brilliant movies, 12 Angry Men being the obvious standout, Prince of the City, which is a fantastic film, which really seriously deserves more people seeing it, and this is one of his last films, possibly even his last. I'm not sure about that, but it's quite a depressing ride, must be said, but there's a great performance by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is my favourite actor and is kind of the main reason I got this. I do think it was perhaps a little too dark for me with regards to the characters. There's not many redeeming features in the characters in this, but I'm willing to give it another go and see if I get anything new from it or different from it on a second watch, now that I know where it's going, which often happens with movies. Next up is the Vengeance trilogy. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, which is the only one that I have seen from this set, and Lady Vengeance. Old Boy is an absolute classic. It's very hard to watch. It's not something you're just going to stick in on any random day and, hey, let's chill out with Old Boy. It's a dark film, you know, and I'm expecting the other two to be that way as well. CP from Will I Like It Reviews, although no, Willie Screeder. It's not called Will I Like It Reviews anymore. Willie Screeder, he's recently been through these, reviewed them, done a very good job on that front. I will probably be getting around to them as well at some point in the near future. Just, yeah, like I said, just on the strength of Old Boy, and CP says, you know, he thought Old Boy was the weakest of the three, which is, I'll take that with a pinch of salt, because, you know, it's CP. No, just because most people that I speak to do seem to think that Old Boy is the standout. And I do find it hard to believe that the other two would be better than Old Boy, but hey, I'll be happy if they are. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that, because like I said, I'm going to review them, and I've not seen two of them anyways. Next up is Flight of the Navigator. I already own this film on a DVD that I got free from a newspaper, so I didn't need to buy this, but I love these second sight editions. They do such a good job on them. The special features, the booklets you get, they're nice, they look good on the shelves. It's just, that's a nice set, you know. I've not seen this film since I was a child, but we used to watch it all the time as kids. It was one of our there was a period there where it was just always on. I can't remember that much from it, considering how many times we watched it as children. I think going back to it will be quite fresh. I watched the trailer recently and thinking, oh, it'll probably be suitable for my daughter. And I watched the trailer, and actually it looked a bit more, a lot of computer talk, that kind of stuff that maybe she's just, she zones out on. So maybe it's not quite right for her at this point. But yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to watching it anyway. Next up is, well, out of all of these, probably my prized possession that I bought recently, and that is special edition of Blade Runner 2049. It's the 4K edition, but inside, you've got, you know, art cards, booklet, just a really nice packaging. It's one of my favourite films of all time. It's in my top 10 movies of all time, and I just, when it came out, it was like £35, something like that. But it came out after the normal release, so I bought the standard release, and then this came out, which I found really annoying because it didn't give you that option to buy this first. So I'm not spending 15 quid on the standard and then another 35 on this. But thankfully, I went into HMV over the Christmas period, and this had gone down to £17. So I snapped it up. But yeah, that's one of my favourites in my collection because it's a brilliant film and it's a really brilliant box set. Next up is Crimson Peak. This is an Arrow release, special edition. And it was a present, once again, from Graham from Man v Film. He got me this as a Christmas present. We are reviewing it. I don't know if by the time this video goes out we will have reviewed it, but over on Brits on Flicks, our podcast, which is one of the reasons he got it me. But yeah, I feel probably Del Toro's most underrated film. I think I maybe even prefer this over Shape of Water, to be honest, which I know a lot of people will be scratching their heads at. But yeah, I really liked this when it came out, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it again. Next up is M. Night Shyamalan's Glass. This is one of my favourite films of last year. It's one of my favourite trilogies, you know, with Unbreakable and Split. I just love these characters that Shyamalan crafted, and I'm just glad to see him back on form, making films that people actually appreciate. I mean, I know not everybody loved this, but I did. I thought it was great. Yeah. Probably the weakest of the three, but then the other two are so strong that that's not, it's not a put down of this film. I thought it was really good, and it goes places you really don't expect. I think he takes some risks, does some things with some characters that you love that perhaps other people wouldn't have the guts to do, and yeah, I appreciate it all the more for it. Next up is Paddington 2. The first film was quite the surprise for me, must be said. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Just everything about that film was just so well crafted. You could tell it was a film made with love, not just a cash in. It wasn't like Smurfs or Trolls or anything like that. It's just, they paid attention to detail, the cinematography, the art department, all the work they were doing. It just everything, the props, just like the colour that was on screen, the acting, that it was really well done. So when they announced Paddington 2, I was hoping it wasn't just going to be a cash grab, and it wasn't. They brought all that same love, care and attention that they did to the first film to this one, and it may even be a better film. Hugh Grant is brilliant in this. Hugh Grant has really impressed me over the last few years. There's one scene in particular where he's doing all these different characters that he's done, and he surprised me. He did. I do like Hugh Grant quite a bit these days, actually, compared to his 4 weddings and a funeral days. But it's a really good sequel, and one of the best family films of recent years. Next up is Captain Marvel. It's a Marvel movie. It's good. It's going to be good. They always are. They know what they're doing. It's probably one of their weaker ones, but by any other company's standards, that doesn't mean a right lot, because it's still a really good film. Jude Law's good in this. I like him as well. I'm not going to say that in case people haven't seen it. Yes. Anyway, there's characters in this that do a lot of switch arounds and aren't quite who you think they're going to be, and some heroes become villains become heroes, and I liked that element of the film. Thought that was really nicely done. I think Brie Larson was unfairly attacked for this film. I think maybe some of her political views or things she said in public have gone some way to making people turn against her for whatever reason. But I thought she was good. I liked her in the role. Whatever, Not my favourite character in the MCU, but it's a good film. It's solid stuff. I like the period stuff as well. I like the fact that we're now getting into I'm of that age now where we're doing period pieces set in the 90s, which is when I was a teenager, which actually kind of scares me a little bit. One of the biggest surprises of last year is Fighting with My Family. Really good drama, very heartfelt, very touching, just character-driven piece. And it's written and directed by Stephen Merchant, who is really revealing himself to be quite a talent. He's one of those whole package kind of guys, because he's good in front of the camera and he's clearly also very good behind the camera. Florence Pugh is very good in this. I think it's maybe easy to dismiss her performance in this over Midsummer, because Midsummer is a very dark and serious film, and this is like a bit more light-hearted, a bit more family drama. But I think she does more in this, to be honest. I preferred her performance in this film than I did in Midsummer. Yeah, it's like a scene in Midsummer where she gets to show that she can cry and that, but then the rest of it, I don't know. I just like this film better, quite frankly. I liked her in Little Women as well. Really good, strong actress that's got a bright future ahead of her, providing she carries on picking the right roles. Someone who I think gets overlooked in this, who I thought was very good indeed, is Jack Lowden, who plays the brother. He's got some he has a character arc in this about not being able to achieve your dreams and what you're left with once you find yourself in that position, and he does a lot with it. I think as an actor, I really feel quite invested in his character because of the performance that he gives. And yeah, I just feel like a lot of people concentrate on Pugh, quite rightly, because she was really good in it. But I don't really hear many people talking about Loden, and I think he deserves some credit. Next up is Aleta, Battle Angel, based on the manga. I did not warm to the trailers for this at all. It just looked like it was going to be a CGI mess, weightless CGI mess. It didn't excite me that much, but I am a sci-fi guy, so I was still intrigued enough to want to go and see it. And I'm a big fan of James Cameron as well. I loved this. It was great, and the trailers just didn't do it justice. And I think most people who've seen it seem to be of that way of thinking. Like most of the people I talk to, at any rate, once they've seen it, they're like, "Wow, yeah, one of the biggest surprises of last year." It really, really is. And unfortunately, it didn't do too well at the box office. We're definitely not going to get a sequel, let's face it, but it's a shame. I'd really like to see one. It was a great, great film. One of my favourites of last year. It was in my top 10. If you haven't seen this yet, go out and buy it. Give the studios a reason to make a sequel. If you put the money in, if you go out and you buy it and you show them there's an audience that's caught onto this thing, then they may reconsider. It's worth it. And even if we don't get a sequel, it's still a really great standalone movie. Next up is Robocop, special edition, Arrow release. Really love these sets that Arrow put out. They're so good. Just the booklets, quite frankly. These booklets that you get, they always have nice artwork on them. Just the texture on them, even the smell, there's something about. But the great essays inside. They have like proper movie critics doing really great essays that get you thinking about the film in ways that perhaps you hadn't done before. Just noticed there's a sticky line down that one there. That's annoying. Okay, and you get a poster as well. It's just, like I say, really nice sets. I think that, just watch me as I struggle putting this back in. It was a mistake to get it out. I think, because I'm getting so overrun with Blu-rays and stuff, I think I'll be more inclined, I say that after doing this ridiculously long video with all these Blu-rays, but I'd be more inclined to buy just these kind of sets now in the future, just to save space, really. They're more expensive, but there's something a bit more special about them, I feel. Anyway, Robocop. It's a classic in the sci-fi action genre, and I'm going to watch it again. I've not seen it since I was a kid. It's been at least 20 years, I can tell you that much. So I'm looking forward to getting to it. Having watched Total Recall recently, loving that film, I want to revisit this one, so we'll see. Watch out for the review on that one. And finally, another big surprise for me was this film, Upgrade. It's kind of got me excited for what the director is going to do with The Invisible Man. What's his name? Lee Wannell. So this is the guy who started out writing the Saw movie, like the first Saw movie, and a lot of those other kind of films that he did with James Wan. And yeah, I really loved it. It was tight. I don't think it's a very long film either. Let me just have a look on that. Let me check that. It's 100 minutes. It's an hour and 40, but it feels really tight. There's a lot in there. He packs a lot in, and yeah, I like films that are really tightly edited, get to the point, do what they need to do, and get out. And this does it. It's got some really good action sequences in it. It's one of those films where for me at any rate, I saw the twist coming, but then actually it's not the twist that you think is going to be. So I enjoyed that he did that, played with the expectations. But yeah, really solid stuff. One of the better sci-fi kind of action films in recent years. And this is a really nice looking set. Again, I'm really becoming a sucker for these proper hard-cased, something just a bit more special about it. As a movie lover, as a collector, I prefer having something like that on my shelf than just your standard editions that end up in charity shops after a few years. So yeah, there you go. That's what I've been buying recently, or being given recently, you know, some of them being Christmas presents and all. But what do you think? What do you think about some of those movies? You know, which ones do you like? Which ones don't you like? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching this video. And until next time, cracking.